Coming up now on Animal Outtakes.
So Sahara has come a very, very long way. She was skin and bones when we picked her up.
It's a sanctuary dedicated to helping care for unwanted or abused horses. We take a tour of Southwest Florida Horse Rescue and hear all about how this facility got started. Suey! Dr. Tracy is calling all pigs. She's ready to find out if there's any truth to some of the more common pig theories. What you think you know about pigs may not be true at all. And yes, you can have a dragon as a pet. In this episode of Pet of the Week, we learn about what's involved when it comes to caring for this little monster. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. They symbolize a sense of freedom and power, the ability to go wherever you want and ride off into the sunset. But there are horses out there that are trapped, being mistreated and neglected. But luckily for some, they found refuge at Southwest Horse Rescue, a place that gave them back their independence.
Horses came from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. This is Cheyenne. Cheyenne is a Frisian Quarter Cross, and this is Bullet. Bullet is a thoroughbred. I did a one. Everyone decided that Sahara was a fitting name. She was seized out of Hendry County, so the Hendry County Sheriff's Department contacted us. We agreed to take her, although we did not really have any room, but when the Sheriff's Departments contact us, we do everything in our power to make it happen because those horses have nobody. And the last thing we want them to do is go to auction because anybody could get them. We saw the need for horse rescue in our local area. So we started in 2010. We were going to rescue, rehab, and rehome 2 horses at a time. And that went a little bit crazy. And in 2011, we actually ran into a herd of 50 to 60 horses. They were in really bad shape. And we were actually able to save 19 of those horses. So that's when we kind of really knew that it was bigger than we were. And we needed to not just be private, Tina and Matt. We needed to, I think that's when Southwest Florida Horse Rescue was actually born, was when it got a little bit much for just the 2 of us to handle. We have had Sahara for nearly 2 months, and when she came in, she was at a weight of 602, I think, when she should be at 950 or a little over 1,000 in my opinion. We like them a little thick. And honestly, it took her a bit, as it does many of the horses out here, when they come to us, we don't know their past. We know a little bit, but not a lot. And we just kind of let them be horses again. To watch these girls and guys become horses, like when she came to us, she didn't make a sound. She didn't whinny, she didn't do anything. And then probably a week in, she's almost one of the loudest ones out here when she knows it's feeding time. And it's like, listen to her. Like she has a voice. So we're very proud of her and how far she's come in such a short amount of time. To see a horse come to us in emaciated, neglected, abused, any of those things, it's just one of the saddest things. It's not just horses, it's all animals, but with horses, when you can watch them blossom before your eyes every single day. Some people look at this and have said to me, how do you do it? That's such a burden. And I'm just like, a burden? I mean, how could this be a burden? It's not a burden, it's a blessing. And Matt and I both, and all of our volunteers, are blessed to be able to do this every day. I grew up in foster homes, and there would just happen to be a little pony that was at a foster home that I went to, and it was Chubby Checkers. And Chubby was my little buddy. And once the foster parents realized that, wow, she has this kind of way with our little guy. I was able to groom him. I was able to feed him. Then they let me ride him. Those were the best days because I could cry. Chubby didn't care. I could tell him all my problems, everything that I had built up as a little girl that life wasn't so great, and he made it all different. So as I grew up, I don't know, I kind of look at these horses out here and I know that they help me, and I feel that I should help them.
There was a poster child for the year of recovery for any rescued horse in our care. Sammy would be it. The condition basis for the first month was very dire, down to a point of questionability whether or not he was going to make it, down to even the local fire department having to come out to get him off the ground. So today, when you talk about how does it make us feel, honestly, such simplistic things like him laying down, rolling, and getting back up, you have no concept of how that really touches you inside. It's not even a method of explaining.
Volunteering is something I never really did, so this is something new for me. And this is challenging because the horses, they rotate in and out. They have different issues every day. It's not something that I know what to do every day. Every day is different. So, and that's challenging for my brain. So that's good for a 70-year-old. So that's why I said, right, yes, yes. So that's why I'm here.
It's about the care, the true care that these horses get. I'm proud of it. We're proud of everything that we do here. We're proud of all of our horses. We're proud of our volunteers. Just pride. You swell up with pride when you walk out the door. It's that kind of place. It's very peaceful. It's a peaceful facility. We don't run around like crazies, and they don't run around like crazies. They just know. I think that they all know when they come to us that they're safe. They'll never miss a meal again, so they kind of know. And then their eyes start to change. Yep, there it is. So, yeah, we're proud of her. We're proud of all of them.
For more information about Southwest Florida Horse Rescue and for ways you can help, log on to their website, swfhr.org. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, our Inspector Planet is rolling around with the pigs, and she's finding out if there is any truth to those common piggy tales. That's next.
So are pigs dirty, unintelligent? Do they sweat a ton? What is all of this about?
Every dog deserves a lifelong loving home. Dantes Den provides a pristine, comfortable haven for dogs that have been abandoned or surrendered by their owners. We ensure that every pup in our Joyful Dogs adoption program receives lots of love and attention, is properly immunized, spayed or neutered, and is in good health. Prospective pet parents undergo a thorough adoption review to ensure a lifetime of love and care. Find your new furry best friend at Dantes Den. For more information, go to dantesden.org. Dantes Den, continuing the love. Science is everywhere, and it's all around us. It's observing the world, forming questions, and the willingness to find the answers. It's something our Inspector Planet does every day, and you can too.
My name is Dr. Tracy Fanara, research scientist and environmental engineer. At Mote Marine Laboratory, I use investigation and experimentation to answer questions. So people say a lot of things about pigs. They say you sweat like a pig, your room looks like a pigsty, you're dirty just like a pig, and some children's books actually make pigs seem unintelligent. Let's find out if there's any truth to any of this. So there's a lot of things said about pigs. We're here to find out if that's actually true. So are pigs dirty, unintelligent? Do they sweat a ton? No. What is all of this about?
Pigs, first of all, pigs do not sweat. Pigs will cool themselves a lot of times by laying in shallow ponds of water or in dirt, but they don't sweat like human beings. And as for being dirty, they are some of the cleanest animals on the farm. I mean, they keep their pens neat. They would never, ever lay in the muck or filth that you see commercial pigs laying in. And besides that, they're incredibly intelligent. They are one of the smartest animals you'll ever meet.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I heard that in an IQ test, out of all animals, pigs came up as the smartest.
Not only that, recently there was a study done. They discovered pigs were using tools. Yes, this has just come out, and they actually filmed wild pigs using sticks to actually dig in the dirt and using tools.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, which I thought was fascinating.
That's absolutely incredible.
They're incredible animals. Okay, this is Wilbur, and initially when Wilbur came to live with us, he lived out back in an enclosure. And every night he would complain about going home. He was not happy about where he was living. So one day we noticed he was carrying his blankets. He'd carry his blanket across the field and brought it under the porch. He had a little stuffed toy. He brought that with him under the porch. He carried everything with him under the porch, and he chose to live here. And he's a great pig. He does not leave the yard. He's great to everyone, and so he can live wherever he wants.
The most interesting thing about pigs is that we can find them all over the world. We can find them in the tundra, we can find them in the desert. How are they all over the place?
Pigs are able to adapt to a variety of situations. And I mean, if you look at Florida, for example, we have a ginormous wild hog population. We also have a lot of hogs that are being kept as pets and also in farm situations. And they're able to do this because they are so intelligent. So they are able to adapt to anything they're put into. However, that being said, a lot of people get pigs as pets. And we get calls every week about people who can no longer keep their pigs because they get this cute little piglet. It's adorable. They have it for a year or two and it starts to grow and their natural instincts come out. They want to root and they want to dig and they want to burrow. You know,
right.
They want to be a real pig. And in an apartment or in a housing development, that just doesn't work. And then people reach out to find a home for their pigs and it's very difficult because there are so many that are seeking homes.
So pigs are kind of like huskies.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I can see where that can be a problem. So pigs are great animals, amazing animals in fact, but they might not make the best long-term pets.
Yes, and with any pet like this, you definitely want to go and volunteer with the animal first and see if this animal is going to fit in with your lifestyle before you make that commitment, because it is a commitment. That pig can live to be 15 years old. So you need to know for 15 years you're going to live in a place where that pig will be accepted and healthy and happy.
So one more question. Have you found any strange spider webs with perhaps some words in there, like good pig?
Well, we do have a pig named Wilbur out back, so just saying.
Wow, so we see that pigs are not only super intelligent, they're actually really clean animals and they don't sweat at all. Well, people have things really wrong about you guys, but we're trying to set the record straight. Remember guys, anyone could be a scientist or an engineer with some passion, hard work, and innate curiosity of how the world works.
How about an animal that may make a good pet for you and your family? That's coming up next on Animal Outtakes.
People have asked me what it'll cost to restore all the corals back the way they remember. But I have to ask them, what will it cost if we don't do anything?
If you want a dragon as a pet, this animal might be the closest you'll get. They even have dragon right in its name. And it can puff up, but it won't breathe fire. Our friends at Family Pet Center in Sarasota, Florida say this dragon can make a wonderful pet.
Alright, so this is Dante. This is one of my bearded dragon breeders. He's a hypotrans bearded dragon. Typically they have a lifespan of about 10 to 15 years. Most of the time I see them around 8 to 10 is what I see with most people, but I have had a couple that I get close to 15. Their care is generally pretty simple. They need a heat spot of about 105 to 110 basking. They need a cool side of about 80 degrees, ambient around 90 to 95. That's how they digest their food. And their diet is pretty simple. I mean, it's a mixture of crickets, worms, roaches, many different types of worms, hornworms, calcium worms, waxworms, a bunch of different stuff like that. They're very great for kids. They're probably either that or a ball python is what I suggest for a kid. Just because they're easily handleable like this, and they just sit there, and they're very tame. Typically we give them baths about once to twice a week, especially when they're shedding around here, to help get that humidity up to get that shed off. So they'll get a bath right after this. When they're young, they need about 10 to 20 gallon to live in. And then when they get older, anywhere from between like a 40 to a 75, you can even go a little bigger. Just to have the movement to move around, like he needs about a 75 gallon because he's so big. This is one of the biggest ones I've ever seen. Typically most max out around like 18 inches, and he's a little over 2 feet. Typically they're pretty good with other animals, dogs, cats, anything like that. Cats are a little nervous of them. Sometimes it's kind of funny. And then other reptiles, I've seen, you can't put beardies with beardies typically unless they're young, because they will typically fight. Usually it's not like one will try to kill the other immediately. Usually it's like a dominance thing for food and stuff, and it's over time, and you won't even hardly notice it. That's the hard part with them. They are very inquisitive, actually. It's funny, when you see them, they'll notice you when you get home and stuff. They'll actually come to the front of the cage sometimes. They want to be handled. They know, they get used to their owner. They know what they want. It's all about just getting into a daily routine with them. They need their salads in the morning. They need their salads whenever you can get it to them, once a day, and then their crickets or protein, whatever, during that day too. It's all about making sure they get fed and just clean. It's not a super hard process, and then handling is just, you gotta handle them for a few minutes a day and they'll be perfectly great. I think it's good to know, like, you're dealing with a captive pet over at a wild pet, but as also you understand the world outside the environment, you get a feeling of what is out there and like why you should be protecting it instead of tearing forests down and all that kind of stuff. It's more about you understand what the animal is and what it's all about. I think it's good for them to know that.
Stay with us. There's more animal outtakes coming up next. Animal Outtakes is produced by Dantes Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dantes Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. This show is produced by Dantes Den Foundation, a lifetime care facility for our four-legged friends. Hundreds of Dantes dogs have been adopted, but there are some who need constant care and will stay here at our sanctuary forever, like Kilo. This beautiful black and white German Shepherd will melt your heart. Kilo's owner died of lung cancer, and there was no one available to take her. So Kilo was surrendered to Dantes Den. Kilo still misses her owner and really craves female attention. She's 12 years old and most likely will spend the rest of her days at Dantes. Adopting older dogs is very tough, but we love having this sweet, playful girl. One thing Kilo's story does teach us is that we need to have a plan in place for our pets. If the unexpected were to happen, who will care for our best friend? Dr. Glassman, when I first met you, and it was many wonderful years ago, you asked me, do you have a first aid kit at home? And I just kind of blindly looked at you and said, I think I got something. You have since educated me. I think we should educate our viewers. We should have a first aid kit at home. What should be in it?
Yeah, some essential things. Actually, for your pet, a good thing to start with is just a list of phone numbers, like for your own local vet, your emergency vets in the area. A really good number for poison control is 888-4, the number 4, ANI, A-N-I for animal, help. So it's 888-4-ANI-HELP is the phone number. That's poison control at the University of Chicago's veterinary school. There is a fee for that, but best thing for poison control, you're speaking to a veterinary toxicologist. They're really great. So the phone number is your own pet's records, medical records, vaccine history, certainly any medical issues. If you got to run to the ER, you have it all in a concise place. But now as far as supplies, yeah, a leash, maybe even a muzzle if you're worried your pet might get aggressive if it's injured. A pillowcase is good for like a cat or a small dog in a hurry. If you don't have a carrier, you can swoop it up into a pillowcase. But some basic bandage material certainly is good. Get some kind of maybe roll gauze, and you know that's good to wrap. Sterile pads first, some sterile gauze pads. So you've got an injury, put the sterile gauze pad on, gently wrap with some gauze, roll gauze of some kind, and then you can even buy what's called, comes by different names, vet wrapped. It's kind of a sticky roll thing, but you can buy this, maybe you might have to go to a feed store for this.
And it comes in colors, too.
Yeah, this is two white things, but yeah, this has all kinds of pretty colors.
Yes.
Let's see, so lots of basic things. I like saline bottle, eye flush, just cheap generic eye flush. So you can flush an eye. We'll do a segment on red eye, but flush an eye or flush a wound with just some sterile, inexpensive saline you can get at the pharmacy. Quick Stop would be a good idea. Quick Stop, I believe you can probably buy in pet stores. It's a powder. If you're trimming nails and you go too far and it bleeds, or a pet breaks a nail, cracks a nail, Quick Stop's a little powder that's like a chemical cautery. You can try to stop the bleeding of the nail, and it does sting because it's a chemical cautery.
Now, you've always told me, in lieu of that, flour.
Yeah, flour, starch, because anything that would just like a powder that the blood could clot on wouldn't be as good as the Quick Stop. As far as some simple things, it's good to have. I love Pepto-Bismol for simple vomiting, diarrhea. You can get your dose from your veterinarian, but an eyedropper for small pets, cats, an eyedropper of Pepto-Bismol twice a day for 1 day can't hurt and may help for little simple upset stomachs. Benadryl you should have. Benadryl is an antihistamine, and you can get the generic, of course, but great for all kinds of things. Antihistamines I love. You basically can't hurt with an antihistamine. If you get a bee sting, some swelling, your eyes are red all of a sudden if it's allergic. The dose is about 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram per pound. The tablets come in 25 milligrams. I like the tablets because you can break them, where originally it was mostly the capsules where you had to open it. But so let's say you have a 10-pound cat, you could give it like 1/3 of a Benadryl or 1/4 of a Benadryl. If you had a 30-pound dog, you could give it 1 tablet. So if you remember, 1 pound per milligram, if you can calculate that, that's sort of the maximum dose, but incredibly safe. Can't hurt with Benadryl in general. I like Imodium. Imodium's good for some bad diarrhea. And again, get your dose for your pet from your veterinarian, but I love Imodium, very safe. You can buy it over the counter for some simple diarrhea.
Now on some of the over-the-counter, do we do the regular, like Pepto-Bismol regular, or do you do Pepto-Bismol extra strength?
So many products. I like just the regular old Pepto-Bismol is fine. Oh, a tick remover, if you can buy a little tick remover, it'd be nice. A digital thermometer, so you can take your pet's temperature, see if it's having a fever. Of course, that's rectal, so you need a little lubricant on your digital thermometer.
And how are the ear thermometers that I'm beginning to see?
They're not that great for pets.
Okay.
Yes, digital is the best way. Okay, but yeah, there's, go on the American Veterinary Medical Association, AVMA's website. They have a list of first aid things for your pet.
And so after we go through our first aid kit and we take care of our pup, that's when we fall apart.
Call the vet.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.